So, welcome to another edition of the Exhibit Show, hosted by yours truly, Josina Anderson. And today we have another special guest in his first sit down in a very, very long time. Although we have talked before, please welcome to the show 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh in the building. What's up, Robert?
What's up, Joe? How you doing?
How are you doing?
I can't complain. Much needed bye week.
I see. You know, we have been waiting a long time to talk, but the good news right now is that you guys are 9-4, just coming off your first win in Cleveland since 1984. Solid 26-8 victory, and that was over the Cleveland Browns this past Sunday. And, you know, the interesting thing is that not a lot of pundits, national critics thought that you guys would even have this record when you think of missing Michael Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Looking at your defensive rankings right now, 9th in rushing defense at yards allowed per game, total defense at 8th, rushing success at 6th. And that's even with just everything that you have been dealing with. And just right off the bat, super quick, what would y'all's record be if you had all of those guys, all of the eggs in your basket that you wanted?
You never know, Joe. I mean, it's hypothetical, hard to deal with, but it's, you know, you wish those guys were part of this. I'll be honest with you. Like, I know we see Nick Bosa around the building all the time. I see Fred around the building all the time, and I know they're itching. They just want to get out there and have join the fun that we're all having. It's been a heck of a year, and you know, hopefully after this bye week, we got 4 big ones left. Hopefully we can keep it going. You know.
That was your way of saying you'd be 13-0, right? You'd be 13-0 if you had your guys. But when you reflect over your circumstances and just think of everything that we were just talking about, especially just your road to even coming back to San Francisco, what do you feel like you've proven to yourself with everything that you've done to just get this unit performing as a coach?
That's a tough question, Joe. You know, like, arrogantly, I don't feel like I ever have to prove anything to myself. You know, I've always, the same thing I tell my kids, just go out there, do the best you can, and whatever the result is, it is. You know, you don't judge yourself off results, judge yourself off a process, if that makes sense. But, you know, so I don't know, that one's a tough one for me to answer, but it's been great coming back. You know, just being here, it's been great calling it again. You know, when I was at the Jets, I didn't call it, and I feel like, you know, that's a big thing, obviously, but it's just been fun, you know.
You know, you've gotten so much praise for doing your job when I'm watching some of these broadcasts and watching you on the sidelines, looking like you're having just fun and joy again. So I'm just curious, which of these games or even an instance that has gone by so far at this point in this season has brought you the most reward or joy when you think about just the OT win at Rams week 5, Sunday night at home versus Atlanta, maybe week 9 versus the Giants when you were even more depleted most recently in Cleveland. What has it when you look back and been like, man, that was the moment. That's what I've been trying to get back to.
Week 1. Week 1, you know, like, I mean, you could probably go back before that even, you know, OTAs, training camp, but if you're going to say which one was like, man, because even through OTAs and training camp, there was still the anticipation of the regular season, right? Like, I've always joked around that the off season is the best part of the season. You know, everyone's undefeated going to the Super Bowl, everyone loves you, and then the season happens. But no, you know, that week 1 win over in Seattle, it's hard to win in Seattle in week 1, new coordinator, new quarterback. And like I said, being able to call it again and being immersed into the entire game, it was cool. It was a cool moment to win that football game, and you know, that'd probably be it.
Yeah, because I know I speak for a lot of people just watching you on the sideline, seeing you jumping for joy, smiling, you know, giving the Salah, you know, torso pump, whatever it is that you're doing when you're really into it. So it's good to see that we obviously saw that when you were just in Cleveland, as I was mentioning. You guys won there 26-8. Just even, I got to get into this game really quickly because you guys held Shedeur to 16 for 25, 149. He did have 1 touchdown, no interception, 93.6 rating, QBR 16.1. I'm curious, what was the impression that you just had of the young quarterback Shedeur Sanders based on how he dealt with your defense and all of your artillery?
Yeah, you know, like all young kids, they're growing in this thing. He needs reps, just like a lot of rookies do, and most. You know, I know we look in this, especially this time of year, or not this time, but this day and age, if you want to call it, we look at the exceptions around the league, the Jaden Daniels of the world, the guys who hit right away. And they're not the rule. The rule is normally the young man like a Patrick Mahomes who didn't play his first year. Herbert, who wasn't starting during OTAs and training camp, and really came in, and I don't know, it was like within the first few weeks of the season. Those are the norms. Guys who are kind of eased into the season, eased into their playing career, and then they get a lot of reps, and they get better and better and better. And you go around the league and you look at guys like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones, and guys who have, whatever that trajectory is, it is what it is. They've got their own growth. And so you look at a guy like Shedeur, and he's young. He's got a lot of talent. He's confident. I'm not in the building. I can't speak about his work ethic, but I would imagine if he's anything like his pops, it's pretty damn good. So I think people just need to calm down, be patient, let him go through his growing pains, let him continue to grow, and let's see what his ceiling is.
I love that. I want to go to one of the plays, at least during the game. The score was 10-8. You guys were up by 2. It was in the third quarter, 7:08 remaining, 4th and 1. The Browns go for it on their own 33-yard line. The call was a direct snap to Harold Fannin. He fumbles. You guys recover. Were you surprised, or just what were your thoughts that they were going for it on their own 33 at that point in the game?
In the moment, you're just trying to make a stop, but I think it's credit to coach and his relationship with his players. He trusts his guys to go out there and make a play, continue the drive, if you will. But it's always, you can second guess anything, but obviously they were trying to be aggressive in that moment and just didn't work out. But it speaks to the volumes, I think, of the trust he has that his team could have gotten that extra yard. And it's a 50-50 proposition at that point. It's everyone's selling out, taking a shot, and fortunately it worked out our way.
It did work out your way, Robert. It definitely did work out your way. And speaking of working out your way, let's talk about your process, because you're able right now to get so much out of your players. People are talking about connectivity with coaches. Kevin Byard was just on this program a couple of days ago talking about how it is important to have that connection with the coach, the ability that the coach has to get stuff out of you. So let's talk about that. You did add Clelin Ferrell and Keion White, both had 3 sacks during the game, 2 for Ferrell and 1 for White. I want to talk about your process. I was reading this article for Niners Noise, and they had this interesting comparison. They said, you're talking about how does the work and influence you did with your former Jets defensive end, John Franklin Myers, as a previous 2018 4th rounder, 3-4 DN, that to some was an odd fit for your 4-man rush, but you turned him into a significant lineman for the Jets, obviously cashed in with the Broncos, 4-year, $55 million deal. So what is your process when it comes to identifying talent, utilizing talent, maybe that others aren't able to get out of the players? And how is that process similar what you did with Franklin Myers to with Keion White, potentially?
No, that's a good question. A really good question. John, I think sometimes we try to pigeonhole players into all-encompassing. Like, okay, he's a D end, and therefore he rushes as a D end, he plays D end, and that's what he is. And I've always looked at players in terms of, like, and just using John Franklin Myers for an example, unbelievable edge setter. Too small to play inside. I wouldn't say too small because I think he can do it, but you're wasting. You're asking a smaller guy to strain a little more than he needs to on the inside on rundowns. But if he's outside, he can be an absolute dominant force because he's so much bigger and stronger than tight ends, and he's physical enough to knock tackles back, and really good from a pass rushing standpoint to create pocket push. But on the inside, he has an elite short area quickness that's unique for interior rushers, and so and a lot of guys do this. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of teams that do this where they'll take players in and out. But looking at John Franklin Myers and saying, he kind of plays that Eric Armstead role, play outside on 1st and 2nd down, kick him inside, at least when Eric was with us, eliminate the solid side run game. And then when it's pass downs, let's get him inside and disrupt the quarterback. And so when we look at a guy like Keion, when we were going through when John Lynch was going through the process and brought him down, and he was talking about what he saw out of him and whether we all saw it the same, you could kind of see that Eric Armstead, John Franklin Myers, that that elite edge defender on early downs that can kick inside and be a disruptor on pass downs. And
Mm.
he's just starting to get comfortable. And again, every scheme is different. There's a million ways to do things, but for us, just looking at him and how he could be, how you best utilize their traits, and he does have a special skill set rushing on the inside. He has a special skill set setting edges on the outside. So, it's on us to find a way to make it work both ways within a game.
And we've been talking about your process. I also just want to hear about your day to day when you just think about your soul, your spirit, your energy now in the 49ers building. How do you feel, within yourself in terms of just your day to day activities as defensive coordinator back in Santa Clara compared to what you were going through when you were head coach of the Jets?
Um, Obviously, there's more football when you're the coordinator, which I look back at, and you're not dealing with nearly as much as much as administrative stuff as you did as a head coach. Looking at Kyle and just watching the same things that he does, you just there's a lot that isn't just football. So, it's always good to just do football. It's kind of why we got those opportunities to be head coaches in the first place, is because of our football acumen. But regardless, it was still a great learning experience. Nothing you can't handle, but it is good to just be able to sit back. And when I see Kyle dealing with some of the headaches that come with being a head coach, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch film.
And I know that you're glad to have some of that. And it's good sometimes to just specialize, keep your head down and what have you. But, obviously, speaking of your time as head coach, even week 9, you actually went back to New York, but it was to play against the Giants, not your former team. I am just curious, though, when you were flying back into New York, looking over the New York side, just looking over the New York skyline, what was that like for you, just even coming back there, a place where you had that experience, and even more so departing with a win?
No, you know what? I've said it before, and I want to say it again. Like I've got unbelievable memories of New York. Like it's obviously it didn't work out the way we wanted to, but it was still an unbelievable experience to be able to be one of 32 in the world. Like, and to get that opportunity in New York with the Jets and the people in the building, the community. We lived in that Madison area, and the local shops, the people. I still text with a lot of them, the parents, the young kids. My kids are still connected to them all, and so just it was home for 4 years, and I'm telling you, it was an unbelievable experience for me and my family. And even the Jets building, I still have a lot of connections with a lot of the people in there. Love a lot, so many people in that Jets building, from to Eric Gelfrand. I went when we were in New York, had dinner with Jaime, the team president, and
Mm.
Mastrodi, their head of security. I mean, just it was a tremendous experience being in New York. So when we were flying in, it was all good. So it was good to go back there for a night anyway.
Well, that team that you did play and get a win over has a new opening right now for head coaches. Brian Daboll is no longer the head coach of the New York Giants. Do you think that you could return back to that city as, potential head coach even for a different team?
I'm not thinking about it, Joe. I know I know you probably want an answer, but
Mhm.
we got 4 weeks here. We're in the middle of
I'm
a
just
big
ta-
time
I'm just
playoff
talking
push.
about the city. I'm just talking about the city itself. Do you feel
Love
like
New York.
do you feel
Love
like you could return to the city? Mhm.
Yeah, love New York. Love the fan base. Love all of it. Love the chaos.
Oh, you do? Now you love the chaos.
Well,
Okay.
shoot, I got 8 kids. My house is constant chaos. We live in chaos.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. And really simply too, just on a scale of 1 to 10. Please, just simply humor me here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to be potential head coach again?
um, well, it's what most of us. I don't know if every coach does, but we all want to get to the top of our profession. But honest Joe, I'm just in this space right now where I'm solely focused on trying to do my best for the guys here. It's like we all want to be. It's not a secret. We all want to be at the top of our profession and show that we can achieve greatness at the top of our profession. But
Mhm.
um, and I say this with great humility. My focus is here and just trying our best to get to the playoffs and see if we can make some damage and host Super Bowl here in our building.
Well, this is the first time, that people have heard from you, especially in depth with regards to just your past experience. And, just want to get a little bit of reflection here, because I think that a lot of people look up to you in the coaching profession. Obviously, you've underlined yourself as a defensive coordinator, just an overall coach acumen, connectivity since you've been in San Francisco. So I do think people want to hear a little bit about, how you process adversity, especially because you have now ascended back to just persevering, again in San Francisco. So, can you describe just the process, of how you internalize and just even dealt with, things ending so abruptly when, you guys were 2-3 with the Jets. It was week 5, and obviously your tenure ended there.
Um, like anyone, I mean, shoot, it's hard, right? But and there's a healing process for everyone. I think that's thank God for Matt LaFleur over at Green Bay, pulled me in and let me hang out for a few weeks and enjoy their run into the playoffs. But with time heals all wounds. But
I mean, like, what did you lean into? Was it because I'm sure your family's in your ear, you're still, at home, you're watching the results and everything like that. We know your brother is animated and things like that. You're having to hear what other people say. You're at home. What did you do? How did you process that as you were home?
Like I said, it was I'm not big on social media. I don't really pay attention to it. And God bless my wife. She didn't even let us watch the first Monday night game.
Okay.
But I did wake up at 3 in the morning to check the score.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay. So
But
you woke up or you still asleep? Oh, okay.
I woke up.
Okay.
But no, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy the first few weeks. But I just like I said, what I did to cope is that thank God for Matt. I went to Green Bay to stay involved, and otherwise, if I would have just sat in the house, sitting in my thoughts, who knows, But it was the right thing to do, was to get up off the couch. No different when you get knocked down in life. You got to get up. You got to dust yourself off, and you got to keep it moving. And it took a couple weeks, but the mindset was to get up off the couch, get up off the floor, dust off, and keep it moving, and keep myself involved, and stop feeling sorry for yourself, if you will. But it did. It took a couple weeks.
There's so many coaches, obviously, that I said that are watching you. There's things that you have to manage, even when it comes to just ownership, or just dealing with the day to day. So anyone that's trying to be a new head coach or what have you, how would you tell them to best balance, the duties of being a head coach with, keeping everything sound and people level in the building?
There's there's no playbook for a first time head coach, right? It's kind of no matter how prepared you think you are, you're still gonna get thrown some curveballs that you weren't prepared for. It's I think of my first year, God rest his soul, Coach Knapp passes away in a biking accident a week before training camp. There's nothing in the head coach manual that tells you how to handle situations that way. And you go in, and to me, the biggest thing you can do as a first time head coach is to just stick to your plan. You've put together a plan, be able to evolve and bob and weave, but curveballs are going to happen. Things will happen that were unexpected, but most, if not all, of those curveballs can be answered with your philosophy on what you believe in. And so that's the biggest thing, is just stay true to yourself, stay authentic, always think about the locker room first, and just know that things that you were not prepared for will happen. It's gonna happen. And just know that you can handle it. Coach Kubiak, when I first got the job, shot me a text and he said, "Hey, Saleh, if I can give you one piece of advice, it'll get done." That was it. It'll get done. So no matter how big the stack of papers get, no matter how long the to-do list is, it's all going to get done. And so just stay in the moment, stay calm, stay within your philosophy, stay authentic, and you'll be just fine.
When you see your fellow coaches in the brotherhood going through adversity, whether it be Kevin Stefanski, Brian Dayball, Raheem Morris, whoever, Callahan, and they're going through this baptism, what goes through your mind as far as, geez, this really is the baptism process that you go through as a head coach when you're up and down, when you see, just even as the season is unfolding?
Season's hard, See, I always joke that every week you're either going to the Super Bowl or it's the apocalypse. It's like there's no in between. There's
I understand that.
when you get to moral victory week, when you get to the moment of moral victories, it means you're done with the season. Like you're not even part of it anymore. So, it's not easy, but it's kind of what we sign up for. So, I think we're all kind of used to it.
Anything you would do differently again as a head coach?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I do differently.
Top thing.
My top, one of the biggest things I do is I'm going to call. I'd like to call it. I feel like when you're immersed in the game as a play caller, I think it brings out the emotion in me that gets me excited and keeps me connected to all the players and keeps me connected to the game a little bit more. So yeah, it'd definitely that'd be the number one thing I would change.
I love that answer. And is there anything that you would do differently just in your process as we anticipate? I know you focus on your team, but just with the coaching carousel, because I thought one of the things that I felt like really helped you with your process is just the affirmation you got in terms of getting head coaching interviews and just being reaffirmed like that, because you did have interviews last time around with the Raiders, Cowboys, and Jaguars. Is there anything that you would do differently in terms of your approach, preparation, or what have you when it comes to just the coaching carousel?
There are. Forgive me, I don't want to get into too much detail, but
yeah,
because at the same time I haven't even put it all together yet. If that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just I'm not there where I've got all my ducks in a row. If I had a blackboard, there'd just be things scattered all over it. But there's a lot of things, like I said, there's no handbook for a first time head coach, but when you go through it, you can put together a pretty darn good manual and of how you do things and how you pivot and how you'd handle the millions and millions of things that pop up on a day-to-day basis. So I've got thoughts and I know I'll have a plan. It's just one of those deals where I'm so focused on the season, I'm just not there to organize it yet.
Yeah, because I'm talking to my league sources as of right now, they're anticipating 6 to 7 openings, and I'll just say I've heard your name being mentioned with a couple of them, but and perhaps more as the season unfolds. But I'll let you move on. I'll let you off the hook, Robert. I'm just also curious, because we talk. I think there's so much more to you. Just as a person and as a coach, and even as we're talking about your process and getting back, healing from everything that happened with the Jets and going to San Francisco, there's a lot to the interest that you have even outside of football. And I thought it was really interesting that you get into watching these programs like Limitless with Chris Hemsworth and stuff like that. So can you talk to us just a little bit about, why you're so into food and why you're so into, the things that teach you about how to take care more of yourself and your health and what spawned that?
I don't know, I've I'm going to give credit to my college roommates on this one.
Okay. All right.
So, it goes way back. When I played football, I was like 260 pounds, and I had to eat so much. Like Whopper Wednesdays were 5 Whoppers, dollar Whoppers on Whopper Wednesdays, just devouring. I'd get like frozen pizza stacked to the top. I'd get the grande meal from Taco Bell and just house that thing. All my, just to try to maintain weight. And and so my roommates were convinced, especially one of them. But all of them were convinced that I'd be like 300 plus, that I was just going to be the biggest human being in the world.
Really?
And
okay.
I was like, okay, I'll prove it to you. And when I finished playing college, I got disciplined, and I got all the way down to like 8% body fat or whatever it was. And they all saw me for the first time in like 2 years at this outing. And it was like, and I just kind of got addicted to it, because they were like, well, who the hell is this guy? But it was more, it became more of an addiction and a hobby, I guess you could say. And Now, with that said, I still have a heck of a sweet tooth, and
Mm-hmm.
I love my cookies. I love ice cream. I love all cheese, all of it. But body fat is and I don't care about weight. It's body fat. Everyone, you can be
Yes.
skinny. You can be skinny fat.
Okay.
But
That's true because I kind
but
of have that going on right here. But okay.
but no, I just try to keep it simple. If you just shop on the perimeter of the grocery store and you stay away from anything that comes in a box or a package, you'll be all right.
Anything that's in a box or a package, you'll be all right. Okay. But you're into
And
the whole
stay and
ketosis
stick
and
to the
all that,
oh
huh?
yeah, and stick to the perimeter of the grocery store.
The
Don't go down.
perimeter of the grow. Okay. Okay.
That's
So
where
that's
your
for the
meats and
produce
veggies
and
and dairy
uh-huh.
products. That's don't go down the aisleways where all the box and canned foods are.
Oh, so stay away from the middle aisles of the grocery store.
That's it. Keep it
Yeah,
simple.
because I feel like you're also obsessed with learning from the centurions too, like the people who live to be up to 100 and things like that. So it's just more than, staying in the healthy aisles with you at the grocery store.
Yeah, I'm a football coach. I'm going to die a very, very young man. That's just what happens.
Wait, what did you just say? Oh,
So
no,
we're
no, no.
football coaches. We're going to die of stress like that. That's
Don't say that.
just want to make sure my casket's nice and light for my family.
Oh, stop it. Don't stop it. Stop it. Really quickly, what sources of inspiration will you look to continue to just inspire the team, moving forward? I don't know if there are, things that you're reading, whether it's something statistical, bring somebody in, because you are dealing with a lot of patchwork pieces. So I'm just curious, as you sit there in your office there at the 49ers facility, what are some deeper places or interesting places that you reach to elevate your unit besides the X's and O's?
You know, you said the word patchwork, and not to throw that word away. Back in 2018, 17 and 18, when we were young and people thought it was patchwork, well, that young core became the 2019 group that got us to the Super Bowl. And so this group right now is just a bunch of young kids who are trying to find their way, get their reps, and grow. So while the world outside of this building might think that they're just patchwork, they're not. These young kids are motivated to take advantage of every opportunity they're getting. They're getting better every week. They're inspired. I think they're really, really trying to take advantage of this opportunity. And
Yeah, but what do you do? But what bag of tricks do you reach into? Yeah.
I'm more tape. Like
Mm.
I do think that sometimes when you try to get cliche and you try to pull out books and sayings and all that stuff, like you can lose the messaging. It's the tape never lies, and trying to show the growth of each individual player and to show them the direction they're going or the direction they need to go. That's our job as coaches, and so there's really no trick. The trick is the silent tape, and it'll always be the silent tape. And they want to know how to get better. They want to know that you care about them, and this young group who you may not know their names now, but you will soon. So if they keep getting better, you'll know them eventually.
Last two questions. I have to ask you this. I was watching this sermon, and this pastor was saying there will be experiences that we go through that are meant to teach us to stop worshiping at the altar of our own ego and principles that make us kneel where we stand, to lean into dependency in the spiritual realm and on others, as opposed to craving our own dominion. So when you hear about that, especially in the realm of coaching, being a head coach, a person, especially as you go through the valley and you come back, to the hill, how does that land with just the process that's necessary to kind of peel back whatever you thought you knew, whoever you thought you were, that forces you to reach another layer of depth that you can then bring into this experience that you are in now in San Francisco, and that presumably you'll bring into your next leadership position?
Um, I've always said that the good Lord will never put you in a position you can't handle. So no matter how hard you think it is, you're put there for a reason. And as long as you attack those moments, those down moments with excitement and the spirit needed to find the positive in it, if you will, you'll be all right. Because you're there, you can handle it. There's nothing you can't handle. It's your attitude that allows you to handle things differently. It's our job to attack it with the best we can, and with the most excitement we can. And like I said, it's as long as your process is good, you can't control the result, but you can control your process. And that's really the biggest way I handle it.
Last question. Next year, Robert Saleh will be doing what?
Coaching football.
As what, Robert? As what?
I don't know. Whatever the good Lord plans, right?
Okay. All right. I'll let you hang out on that.